there's a love aspect. It's a culture that I'm building.
Yeah.
It's not to get me rich. My people know that. I'm here to get them rich.
Yeah.
This year's going to be an amazing year. The last 3 or 4 years weren't so good. Interest rates were high. It was hard for private equity companies to get money. When interest rates start creeping back down toward normal, it's going to take some time.
Yeah.
But you're going to see a big boost. You're already seeing it.
Yeah.
You're going to see more exits than ever. You're going to see more acquisitions than ever. You're going to see a lot more mergers than ever. It's going to be a huge, huge year. You're going to see a lot more companies, because for a while, many big companies, like most of the companies, aren't even public.
Right.
You're going to see that happen now because
Yeah.
they're afraid to go public. Who wants to go public with an administration we've had the last 4 years that's anti-business?
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot more IPOs coming out over the next couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. You were acquired by Integrity.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Back in we closed December 2021.
And talk to us about what Integrity Marketing Group is and what that means to you and what that relationship is.
Integrity when I first looked at it, it was like, I wasn't even interested. I was like, my wife's like, we're not selling, we're not doing that, and and they just kept calling. Brian Adams flew up to see me twice, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I flew down to see him twice. I actually got to meet his wife, Robin. I think I'm still the only FMO who's had dinner with him and his wife, Robin. Yep. And it was just an amazing connection we had, because I met with others. Other companies who were trying to acquire my business. I had 2 companies, by the way. I had Holland Insurance Group and I had Global, so they bought both of them along with my call center. So it was a pretty big move for us at that time, and it was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah. Well, I want to, in full transparency, we have Integrity affiliation. We're a partner office, very, very proud to be associated with them as well. And I want to walk through what that process was like for you in terms of preparing for an acquisition. Right. When are you ready for an acquisition? How do you get ready for an acquisition? And how do you get the highest multiple more than anything? So I want to walk through all those things.
You're asking a lot of questions in that one question. Let's take one at a time. Give me one first. Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah, so I mean, just for an agency like myself, maybe, I'm thinking about, hey, 3 to 5 years. Yeah. I mean, I've rolled out to our team. We want to get to $100 million valuation in 3 to 5 years.
Right.
And I'm going to use this selfishly for my scenario.
Right.
Okay, so how do I get myself in a position to be ready to be acquired?
Right. Well, the first story on that, I got called by a company out of Chicago that was looking to acquire us. That through a friend heard about what I was doing. I had the largest shop for Cigna at the time, so I helped grow a lot of startup Medicare companies. So you've heard of Bravo, HealthSpring, Clover. Helped out and built Oak Street, which is a value care provider. I did all these major development of companies, their distribution was what I did. And I saw them exit and make all these millions of dollars. Like, wait a minute, I'm doing the heavy lifting work. I'm out there building the agencies and the teams. I'm like, I want to be on that side of that. So it occurred to me after one of those companies went public, I'm like, and I saw that I won't name the company, but the CEO made like $700 million on that deal. It was like the second highest paid CEO behind Elon Musk at the time. I was like, what the hell? I'm like, I know Mike. I'm like, dude, we put this thing together. He's had an equity stake, and so I started thinking about that's where the real money is. Just having commissions is great and renewals are great, but I wanted to be on the equity side of a deal. Yeah. Now I'm like, now I figured it out. It's like it took me a while, Chase, but I'm like, I figured it out. I'm like, I got to find a way to do that. So my motivation was helping these companies throughout my career, even going back to the days of American Income Life. They had an exit, and like, I built a large team there, but I didn't get a piece of that equity. So I said, how do I get a piece of the equity of these companies we're building? And that's how it kind of came about in my mindset. That was my motivation. And then number 2,
just being exposed to it. Being
exposed to it. I didn't even know what an EBITDA was.
Yeah.
I thought that was a girl's name in Baltimore. EBITDA. I bet there's a girl in that named EBITDA.
I bet you.
I didn't even know what it was. And so but the first company that came to me was out of Chicago, and they flew out to me. Good guys, good Catholic guys, and we just connected. And they went back to the private equity company they were representing. They go, "You're just not big enough." I'm like, "What? I thought I was doing pretty good." He goes, "Yeah, we want somebody that's got at least a 10 million EBITDA." I'm like, "Well, I'm doing good." He goes, "No, not to where we want it."
Yeah.
That was my motivation.
Yeah,
I said, what, the next 3 years, kind of like where you're at, I said, I got to build, I got to grow, I got to scale, because I was like, I don't like rejection.
Right.
I think that's why I've been really good at sales. I don't like rejection. We get a lot of it. That's why I always wanted to be the best in sales to avoid that rejection. So when I got rejected, they just lit a fire under me. I'm like, don't tell me I'm not big enough. I'm not good enough. So I started building and scaling it, and then within 3 years, when the right company, I didn't even know Integrity was going to be calling me. Scott Riddle, with his raspy voice, Scott Riddle, calls me up and says, Tony Holland. I said, who's this? He goes, you're doing some amazing things, young man. I'm like, are you that same Tony Holland, American Income Life? I'm like, yeah. I was like, he was down to Waco.
Yeah.
He goes, I know B, Bernard Rappaport. He used to think the world of you. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, we want to talk to you at Integrity. Are you open to meet with Brian? I didn't even know who Brian Adams was. At the time, I thought Brian Adams was a singer. I'm like, yeah, he had cool music back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah,
He's like, no, not that guy. Brian Adams, he was telling me about the company and how it started. He goes, he wants to fly up and meet you. I'm like, okay. So, we were at where we needed to be, and some great things happened in our business, which I'll share with you guys. But it was a wonderful transaction. Glad we did it. So, do you want to dive deeper into what I did?
Yeah, I think just telling the audience. I mean, if I'm below that $10 million EBITDA, I mean, how do we get there, and then how do we trim the fat, and how do you really prepare for an acquisition?
So I had, first of all, changed a lot of things in my company, the branding. I changed my logo immediately. I hired a lady to come in that was a branding expert, that she actually was on my team to help me with marketing.
Yeah.
So I even changed the look of my company. The Global Permanent Benefits logo was changed. I changed my website. I had to have the right image of a $10 million company.
Right.
So I did all those things.
Right.
I made sure, by the way, I'm going to talk about it with your team tomorrow. You've seen it, my promotion video.
Yep.
And I got that idea from you ever remember ACN? You probably don't. It was a network marketing company back in the 90s. And they had these great promotional videos called In Their Own Words.
Yep.
So I created my In Their Own Words of all my agents that were making six figures, and put them together in a platform and videotaped them. And so I did my In Their Own Words video. So I created that. Because everybody, if I'm the leader of the company, I'm supposed to say everything's great, right? Well, what do your people have to say?
Yeah.
And I had that video all over. Matter of fact, that one video, it's probably 10 minutes long, made me millions and millions of dollars just by recruiting the right
and that
talent.
was your recruitment
It got me on the map of, other people wanting to acquire me. Because as soon as Integrity started calling, I got calls from all the major players in that industry because they were seeing my video. So my marketing had to change. My videos had to change. Then I started scaling and building agencies. Back in the old days, I was building, and you and I have talked about this, I was building through agents.
Yeah.
Well, you can only go so far. So I switched from building agents up, and I still do that.
Right.
I started building agencies.
But you're more of teaching them how to build an agency.
Yeah, so I started, so at one time I had over 100 agencies in my downline.
Which had agents underneath them.
Well, I had
so you had teams of teams underneath
so I called it the power of five.
Yeah.
So I wanted 5 key like IMOs, FMO types with me, and then help them build 5 underneath them and build 5 underneath them. I got the idea from Art Williams.
Yep.
You guys have to check out The Coach Approach. I think we talked about that book before. By Art Williams. He teaches a very simple methodology where you can do it through LOAs, you can do it through a hierarchy shop, or you can do it, through employees. You have to hire good quality people. And so I built a hierarchy of 100, well over 100 agencies within my company. My philosophy was I wanted to build a company within the company.
Right.
So when you join my team, Chase, we're doing this together. I'm building global and HIG, but I'm building your business too.
Yep.
So I'm helping you build and helping you recruit, and that way we built this dynasty, and it just freaking exploded.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I always say, if you want to build a $100 million company, your goal has to be so big that everybody else's can tuck inside of that. And that's what it sounds like happened for you. Is you had this big vision, this big, massive vision, and you were able to tuck everybody else's big vision into that one.
Yeah, and so my thing, I tell guys like you that want to do the same thing. If you're making, let's say you're making $5 million a year, which is pretty good money. You're in the top 1% of earners, and you need to try to help other people make $5 million.
Right.
If you want to go to 10 million, you got to help other people make 5 million. So I tell you, my GAs and MGAs, I did a session this past Friday about that. If you're making $250,000 a year, it's good money. Your job as a GA is to help other people make $250. That's how you get to 500.
Right.
Okay? Once you start making 500, you got to help other people make 500. And that's how it happened. So I was out there talking to agency directors like yourself how to get to my level, which pushed me up to the next level. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So you got to find out your people when you're building and growing. You got to have a methodology of building and recruiting and developing. You got to find out what's their why. Everyone has a financial freedom goal within them. No one wants to be a slave the rest of their life. So I found out right then and there, whether it's an agent, what do you need on a monthly basis to never have to worry about money again? 5 grand, 10 grand, whatever that is. And I would map out a path for them to show that agent how you can get there within a year.
Yep.
Then I do the same thing with agency directors. I got an agency director, I think I told you this. Get this guy doesn't even speak English. He's an Asian, he does, but not fluent. He came to me, he did in 4 months more production with me than he did in 4 years with his last IMO. And he's now an integrity partner. In 4 months.
Yeah.
People say, how did he do that? He listened to what I told him to do. I said, JJ, you got to start building.
Right.
He's Korean. I said, you need to have not only you growing with your agents, he had about 100 agents, you need to now go out there and find other agencies and help them get to 100 agents.
Yeah.
And he did that. In 4 months,
Yeah.
Chase, follow my system. That's what I love about Asian Americans. They just do what you tell them to do. They don't have time for nonsense, you know. Very positive, where they're absolutely. I mean, we have to communicate via text, because what they do, text or emails, because they don't speak English well, he has to translate anything I tell him into Korean so he can communicate back to me.
Yeah.
So everything we do is via text or via email. Can you imagine building an organization that they don't speak English?
Yeah.
But so I'm working on my Korean, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
are you really? No?
Yeah, I'm trying to work on my Korean so I can speak to his group. But they know I love them.
Yeah.
And I think you got to have that in your business too, Chase. You got an element of love. You know I love you.
Yeah.
I would do anything for you and your family, Emily. You guys are just great people, and that's how I treat my team. There's a love aspect. It's a culture that I'm building.
Yeah.
It's not to get me rich. My people know that. I'm here to get them rich.
Yeah. And when they can feel that, that changes everything. I mean, I met you for the first time right around a year ago, a little bit less, probably about 9 months ago. And we sat down and you told me, hey, you need to start recruiting agencies.
Yes.
And right after that, found a great agency that trusted us and partnered with us. Since then, we've recruited probably 10, 20, 30 agencies in there.
Wow.
And
That's incredible.
It's insane, though, what you're saying, though. It's like, if I can teach people to do what we're doing at a high level,
Right.
it's like that's who they want to work with.
Yes.
It's because it's who, not how.
Yeah.
It's not they're asking how. They're legitimately working with somebody who's done it.
Yes.
And that's what essentially you were doing, is you were showing people the way
Right.
by your actions, rather than, hey, here's a roadmap, but you were actively doing it
Yes.
too.